Hello, my dear English learners. Welcome back to Unmute Your English, the podcast where we help you speak, think, and live in English with confidence. Today, I want to talk about something that every English learner struggles with, something that might surprise you. You see, many people believe that if they just study more grammar, do more drills, memorize more tenses, they'll finally become fluent. But the truth is, grammar drills won't make you fluent. Yes, you heard me right. Grammar is important. It helps you build correct sentences. It gives your English structure. But fluency, real fluency, doesn't come from rules. It comes from connection, repetition, and real use. So today, I'll share with you 7 powerful things you can do to become fluent in English. Things that actually work. Not boring textbook tricks. Not memorization, but real, practical, everyday actions that transform your English. Are you ready? Let's begin. Tip 1. Stop studying English. Start using it. Let me ask you something. How many hours have you spent studying English? Reading grammar books, watching lessons, taking notes? Probably hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands. But let me ask another question. How many hours have you used English? I mean, how many hours have you spoken it, written it, listened deeply to it, or thought in it? For most learners, the answer is very different. They study a lot, but use very little. And that, my friend, is the reason many people never reach fluency. When you study grammar, your brain collects information, just like a computer storing data. You learn about tenses, prepositions, conditionals, and complex rules. It feels like progress, but it's a quiet, passive kind of progress, like reading about swimming while sitting on the beach. Yes, you understand how swimming works. But the moment you step into the water, you panic, because you've never actually done it. The same thing happens with English. If you only read grammar rules but never use them in real situations, your brain never builds the connections needed for fluency. You'll know what's correct, but you won't be able to say it naturally when speaking. Think of driving. Imagine someone who studies the rules of the road every day. They memorize traffic signs, read about steering angles, watch car tutorials, but they never sit behind the wheel. When it's finally time to drive, their mind goes blank. They know the rules, but they can't move the car. Fluency works the same way. You can't study your way to smooth, confident speech. You must practice your way there. So from today, make one small but powerful change in your mindset. Don't say, "I'm studying English." Say, "I'm using English." That one sentence can change how you learn forever. Because when you start using English, everything becomes active. Instead of memorizing a list of verbs, you use them in your daily life. Instead of doing grammar drills, you listen to how native speakers really talk. Instead of writing long notes, you write short journal entries or text messages in English. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what actually builds skill. Practice English the way a musician practices music. When a pianist plays scales, they don't think about every note. They feel the rhythm. When you speak English, you should do the same. Listen, repeat. Feel the rhythm of real language. You don't need perfect grammar. You need active experience. Every time you use English, even for 5 minutes, your brain becomes faster, stronger, and more automatic. You stop thinking about rules. You start speaking from habit, from instinct, from confidence. So remember this line: fluency is not a subject to study. It's a skill to practice. Use English. Live English. And slowly, English will start to live inside you. Tip 2. Shadow native speakers every single day. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful fluency-building habits you can ever develop: shadowing. Shadowing means repeating what you hear, at the same time with the same tone, rhythm, and speed, just like an echo. It's simple, but incredibly effective. Let me explain why it works. When you shadow, you're not only listening, you're also training your brain, tongue, lips, and ears to work together in English. It's like turning your mouth into an English instrument. Think about it. When you were a child, you didn't learn your first language by studying grammar books. You learned by listening, repeating, copying the sounds of the people around you. Shadowing helps you do exactly that, but for English. How to shadow, step by step. Here's how to start. Step 1. Choose a short audio or video. It can be a movie scene, a short podcast, a YouTube clip, or even this episode. Choose something interesting, something you enjoy. Step 2. Listen carefully once. Don't speak yet. Just focus on the rhythm, pronunciation, and emotion of the speaker. Step 3. Now, play it again, and this time, speak together with the audio. Repeat exactly what you hear. Try to match the speed, tone, and feeling. If the speaker says, "I don't know," you say it with the same emotion, the same sound, almost like you're the actor. At first, it feels impossible. Your tongue will move slowly. Your pronunciation may feel strange. Your brain will get tired quickly. But that's okay. That's part of the process. Just like exercising your muscles, your speaking muscles need time to grow. Why shadowing works. When a pianist practices scales every day, their fingers learn the music pattern. They don't have to think. The movement becomes natural. When you shadow English, your mouth learns the pattern of speech. You start to feel the rhythm of the language. You begin to understand how real English flows. And soon, something magical happens. Your pronunciation becomes smoother, your listening becomes sharper, and your speaking becomes faster and more confident. Because you're not just memorizing sounds, you're feeling them. Make it a daily habit. You don't need to shadow for hours. Just 10 to 15 minutes every day is enough. You can do it while walking, cooking, or commuting. The key is consistency. Remember, 10 minutes of shadowing every day is more powerful than 2 hours of grammar drills once a week. Your fluency grows when your mouth practices, not just your mind. Now, Take a deep breath and say this with me. Fluency is built by speaking, not by studying. Good. You're training your voice to become confident, clear, and natural. Keep doing it every day. And I promise, in a few weeks, you'll hear the difference in your own speech. Now that you've learned how to shadow, let's move on to the next secret to fluency. How to think in English and stop translating. Tip 3. Think in English. Stop translating. This one is hard, but it's truly life-changing. Most English learners make the same mistake. They think in their first language and then try to translate their thoughts into English. It sounds logical, right? You already know your native language, so you build your idea there first and then look for the English words. But that habit is one of the biggest barriers to fluency. When you think in your first language, your brain has to do extra work. First, it builds the sentence in your native language. Then it searches for the English equivalents. Then it checks grammar. Then pronunciation. By the time you're ready to speak, the moment is gone. You feel slow, hesitant, unsure. That's why many learners say, I understand English, but I can't speak fast. The truth is, your brain is translating instead of communicating. Fluent speakers don't translate. They think directly in English. And that's what you need to train yourself to do. So, how do you stop translating? You start small. Very small. Begin by thinking in simple English sentences every day. When you wake up in the morning, describe your day in your mind. It's a beautiful morning. I feel a little tired. I need to make coffee. When you're getting ready, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm looking for my shoes. I'm late again. When you're walking to work or school, I see a red car. That woman looks happy. It's hot today. These sentences are short, easy, and simple. But they do something powerful. They train your brain to connect ideas directly in English. You're not building a sentence in your native language first. You're thinking and reacting in English naturally. At first, it will feel slow. You might forget words. You might want to translate. That's normal. But if you keep practicing, your brain will start building English pathways. Those connections will grow stronger every day. Soon, you'll begin to think faster. You'll start forming sentences automatically. You'll hear English words in your head even when you're not studying. That's when you know your brain is switching from translation mode to fluency mode. And here's an important point. Your sentences don't have to be perfect. Fluency is not perfection. It's connection. You're training your brain to think in a new language, and that takes time. So, whenever you catch yourself translating, stop. Take a breath. Say the idea again, but this time in simple English. Over time, you'll notice a big change. English will stop feeling like something you have to remember and start feeling like something that's already inside you. You don't become fluent by knowing every word or every rule. You become fluent when English becomes your inner voice. Tip 4. Speak, even if you're alone. Many learners wait for the right time to start speaking English. They tell themselves, "I'll speak when my grammar is better," or "I need more vocabulary first." But let me tell you the truth. You will never feel ready. Fluency doesn't come from waiting. It comes from using what you already know. Every fluent speaker you hear today, whether on TV, YouTube, or in real life, started somewhere. They made mistakes. They forgot words. They sounded awkward. But they spoke anyway. And that's what made all the difference. If you wait for the perfect moment, that moment will never come. Because perfection never arrives. But progress happens when you open your mouth and start using the English you already have. So, start speaking, even if you're alone. In fact, speaking alone is one of the most effective, private, and pressure-free ways to build confidence. Talk to yourself during your daily life. When you wake up in the morning, describe what you're doing. "I'm making tea now." "It smells good." "I'm sitting at my desk, listening to music." When you go out, continue. "I'm walking to the bus stop." "The weather feels nice today." There are so many people around. This habit may sound strange at first, but it's incredibly powerful. You're not just talking, you're training your brain to form sentences naturally. You're helping your mouth get used to English sounds. You're turning knowledge into skill. And yes, you can even record yourself. When you listen back, you might think, "I sound strange," or "My pronunciation isn't good." That's completely normal. Every fluent speaker once hated how they sounded. But over time, as you listen and adjust, your pronunciation improves. Your confidence grows. Talking to yourself is not strange. It's smart. It's powerful. It's private practice with instant feedback. Think about it this way. Speaking English is like training a muscle. If you don't use it, it becomes weak. If you use it daily, it becomes strong. You don't need to wait for someone to practice with you. You already have the best partner. Yourself. Your voice, your thoughts, your emotions. They're your tools for practice. Start small. 5 minutes a day. You can talk about what you see, what you feel, what you plan to do. And slowly, you'll notice something beautiful. Words will start coming to you more easily. Sentences will flow without effort. Don't wait for perfect grammar. Don't wait for a big vocabulary. Just start speaking. Because the more you speak, the more fluent you become. Even 5 minutes a day can transform your English. One day, you'll realize you're not just talking to yourself anymore. You're talking to the world, confidently, in English. Tip 5. Listen actively, not passively. Many English learners spend hours listening to English. Songs, movies, podcasts, or YouTube videos. That's great. Exposure is important. But here's the question. Are you listening actively or are you just listening for fun? There's a big difference. Passive listening, where the sound is just in the background, does little to improve your fluency. Active listening, on the other hand, trains your ears, your brain, and eventually your mouth to understand and reproduce English naturally. Active listening means paying full attention. You focus on pronunciation, rhythm, tone, intonation, and word choice. You notice how native speakers connect words and how sentences flow in real conversations. You don't just hear English, you understand it. Here's a simple way to practice active listening. Step 1. Choose a short clip, 1 to 2 minutes. It could be a podcast excerpt, a movie scene, or even a short conversation from a YouTube video. Make sure it's something you enjoy. Interest keeps you motivated. Step 2. Listen carefully once, without speaking. Focus on the sounds, the way the speaker emphasizes words, and how sentences rise and fall. Try to feel the rhythm. Step 3. Pause the clip, then repeat what you just heard. Match the tone, speed, and pronunciation as closely as possible. Don't rush. It's okay if you stumble at first. The goal is to internalize the sound patterns. While doing this, notice small but important details. For example, in casual speech, native speakers often connect words. I'm going to becomes I'm gonna. I want to becomes I wanna. I am going to might sound like I'ma. These subtle patterns are the heartbeat of real, natural English. When you mimic them, your speaking starts to sound more fluent and less like textbook English. You can also try dictation practice. Write down everything you hear in a short clip. This improves both listening and spelling, and it forces you to pay attention to each word. Over time, with consistent practice, your ears become trained to catch natural English instantly. You begin to recognize words and phrases in real conversations, and your own speaking becomes smoother, faster, and more natural. The key principle here is simple. Don't just listen to English. Listen with full attention. Focus, repeat, and notice the small details. When you do this regularly, your brain learns to process English as it's actually spoken. That's how you move from understanding English to absorbing it naturally, and eventually speaking it fluently. Active listening is the bridge between knowing English and using English confidently. Tip 6. Learn phrases, not single words. Here's a common mistake many English learners make. They try to memorize hundreds, sometimes thousands of single words. They believe that knowing more words will automatically make them fluent. But the truth is, real-life English doesn't work that way. In conversations, we don't speak with isolated words. We speak in chunks, patterns, and phrases. Learning single words is like memorizing puzzle pieces without knowing how to connect them. Learning phrases, on the other hand, is like seeing the full puzzle. The pieces already fit together, and the picture makes sense. Let me give you some examples. Instead of learning just the word decision, learn the phrase make a decision. Instead of memorizing busy, learn I'm a bit busy right now. Instead of simply knowing time, learn take your time. These small changes make a huge difference. When you learn phrases, your English becomes more natural and automatic. You no longer have to stop and build a sentence from scratch every time you speak. Your brain starts to recall ready-made combinations that native speakers actually use in daily life. One practical way to build this habit is to collect useful, everyday phrases wherever you find them. Watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, follow YouTube channels, or pay attention to conversations around you. When you hear a phrase that feels useful, pause and repeat it. Then, make it part of your own daily English. For example, try saying phrases like, "Can you give me a hand?" "That makes sense." "I totally agree. I'll think about it." Let's get started. The more you use these phrases, the more natural they become. Eventually, you'll find yourself speaking in ready-made expressions, not single disconnected words. Your English will sound smoother, faster, and more confident, just like a native speaker's. Remember, fluency is not about memorizing a huge vocabulary list. It's about using natural combinations of words confidently. When you focus on phrases instead of single words, you give yourself a tool set that actually works in real conversations. So the next time you study, ask yourself, am I learning words, or am I learning the patterns and phrases that make English real and usable? Make that shift, and your speaking will improve dramatically. Fluency grows when your language feels connected, not isolated. Phrases give you that connection. Tip 7. Be consistent. Small steps every day. Now we come to the final and most important tip: consistency. You can know every tip, trick, and method in the world, but if you don't practice every day, nothing will change. Fluency is not built in a day or even a week. It is like fitness. If you go to the gym once a month, you won't get stronger. But if you exercise a little every day, your body gradually transforms. English works the same way. Even 15 minutes of focused practice daily is far more effective than 3 hours of practice once a week. Small, consistent steps build real skill over time. The key is to make English practice part of your daily routine. Morning. Listen to a podcast or an audio lesson. Afternoon. Talk to yourself in English about what you see, feel, or plan to do. Evening. Write a short journal entry in English, or review the phrases and sentences you learned during the day. Keep it simple. Keep it daily. The consistency is what matters most, not the length of time you spend in a single session. Progress may feel slow at first. You might not notice changes in the first week. That's normal. But in 1 month, you will feel more confident speaking. In 3 months, you will think faster and form sentences more naturally. In 6 months, fluency will start to feel natural. It will no longer be something you struggle to achieve. It will simply be part of who you are. Don't let excuses like, "I'm too busy," stop you. Fluency is built with time, patience, and daily effort. Even small steps every day accumulate into remarkable progress. As I always say, little by little, your English will become natural. Consistency is the bridge between learning and fluency. When you practice daily, no matter how small the steps, your English grows stronger, more confident, and more automatic. And that is the secret to real, lasting fluency. Final message: what really makes you fluent? So, my dear listener, let's take a moment to remember what we learned today. Grammar drills are not bad. They have their place, but they are not enough. Fluency is not about perfection. It's not about memorizing every rule or every word. True fluency is about communication, confidence, and connection. You become fluent when you use English daily, not just study it. Shadow native speakers. Think in English. Speak even if you are alone. Listen actively. Learn phrases, not single words. And most importantly, stay consistent. Now, I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself 6 months from now. Picture yourself speaking clearly, confidently, naturally in English. Imagine talking with friends, co-workers, or people from around the world without fear, without hesitation. That confident speaker is not a dream. That person is you. You just have to take action every single day. So, don't chase grammar. Chase fluency. Don't just study English. Live it. Every word you speak, every sentence you try, every moment you practice takes you one step closer to becoming the confident, fluent English speaker you want to be. Thank you so much for listening to Unmute Your English. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend who is learning English too. And remember, keep listening, keep speaking, and never stop unmuting your English.